Hello, this is Hot Indonesia, and welcome to those of you watching us in Tokyo and other parts of the world. I am Sandrina Malakiano. Here is this week's HI Hot List. Riding the Omnibus. The new jobs law is designed to help businesses, but workers reacted with fiery protests. Who's right? Mixed messages. Jakarta reopens for business, but do the coronavirus numbers back that up? And pedal pushers, why bicycling has become the hot lifestyle trend for the young and old. Every week, I'm pleased to be with Sandiaga Uno, former Vice Governor of Jakarta, from his home in South Jakarta. And this week, we are joined by Sari Latif, TV journalist and fresh law school graduate. Here's hot topic number 1, riding the omnibus. Pandemic or no pandemic, protesters were out on the streets against the jobs bill passed by the government last week. The collection of measures are designed to streamline business regulations and help international companies with market entry. But workers say in the process, they take away labor rights and threaten incomes. It is said to be one of the president's final term priorities. And first to you, Sandy. These amendments to 79 laws sound helpful to businesses, especially now. Why has the government been so eager to get this done, even working on a Sunday?
Well, earlier we have identified that one of the key issues facing this country and with the Revolution's Industrial 4.0 is how we create good quality jobs for the people. People are struggling to find jobs, and we need to make sure that we address the root of the issues, which is how we attract activities that would create jobs. And a few days ago, I got the 800 pages version final draft that has been sent to the president from DPR. And we are seeing that 79 prevailing laws have been changed or amended. Why this is so important? I think because of our economy. Our economy is in the midst of pandemic shrunk minus 5.32% in the second quarter, and the third quarter is also looking like we have not really rebounded. So the economic recovery must be spearheaded by the type of enthusiasm in terms of how I would say that this jobs bill would need to focus on small medium enterprises as the 90% job creators of this nation. So while I'm still reading this very thick, comprehensive documents, I think we should give the benefit of the doubt, but still focusing on making sure that this law, this new law, is in effect will deregulate, will streamline, will improve the ease of doing business, will later on bring in investments, and at the end of the day, create good, new quality jobs for Indonesia.
Okay. Workers, on the other hand, want the collection of laws repealed, saying they lose more than gain. Sari, do you see any flaws in the process, and why such passionate protests?
Okay, thank you, Sandrina. Well, we have to look at it from so many perspectives because there are 11 different clusters that has been changed in this omnibus law. And as you mentioned earlier, there are 79 existing laws that are also changed. So it doesn't only affect the workers, it affects also agrarian law and also even administrative law that is included in this omnibus law. First of all, I want to talk from the perspective from the law academics and law reform groups, law students, legal experts, are actually now more so highlighting the legislation making process, which is totally, let's just say it, illegal, if I can use that term, because it is against the actual law that the Articles 5 and 96 of law on lawmaking. And this is why we are more so against this omnibus law, is because of the lawmaking process. So as far as the have I read? I haven't read entirely everything. So what I have read are those that come to the surface. That's where I'll go on and take a look and read, because as a law student in in the 4 years of studying law, we are taught how to read the law, and the interpretations and looking at all different aspects of it. So is there things that are good? I also do business law. I understand from the business perspective and the civil case perspective as well for the businesses, but I also put myself as also a worker. And whether it's a white collar worker or a blue collar worker, there are certain words that is being left gray. Now, this could be very dangerous, that it can be interpreted depending on who is the business person. So first, if I was to work for Sandy might interpret it really well, and he'll be a very great boss, but we can't trust every business person will actually follow that. But because there are gray areas, that's what we're highlighting.
Okay, it's called an omnibus bill because it's a single document that packages together so many measures into one or combines diverse subjects. It is large in size and scope, so we have been hearing protests saying that this bill has been really rushed and has gone through way less or very limited debate and scrutiny than it should have. Do you agree, Mas Sandy?
Yeah, I think you need to go back to the intent. We heard this first during presidential inaugural address, whereby he says he will introduce omnibus law to bring in investments, and this is pre-pandemic. So I was very pleasantly surprised in the beginning, October of 2019, and then we were sort of like discussing a little bit about it, and then once the COVID-19 came in, there was not that meaningful consultations. And I don't want to blame anybody, but it's just so happened that during COVID-19, the optimum consultations that needs to be done on lawmaking, making sure that you consult the stakeholders, was sort of like, I would say, expedited. And during this, we just need to make sure that when you talk about job creations, you need to talk about the people. And the people is now 64 million plus micro, small, medium enterprises is at risk. They could be the great winners of this omnibus law, or they potentially face more challenges. So I'm gonna again read because I have not finished, because in the first few days after the law was ratified, we received so many versions of the bills, but finally we got the official one a couple of days ago, and now we're looking at it and making sure that this law will indeed create the intent to make sure that jobs will be created and people will benefit from this law.
Very short to end this segment, Sari, do you see any chance of any of these laws getting repealed because of labor opposition?
Well, I mean, we can attempt, all the lawmakers or reformers, those who are in opposition of this bill, or it is a bill now, we're going to try to, I know they are preparing, and would it get repealed? I don't think so. As far as in the drafting making process, there's so many violations that it's inconsistent as well. But I think that there's so much I can say, but I know we have limited time. But I guess it's going to be a hard fight, and it's not that easy to do a judicial review. And also with the constitutional law being revised prior to this, is also not making any judicial review in the future favorable.
Okay, noted. Hot Indonesia will continue shortly with mixed messages. The president says no lockdown needed in fighting the coronavirus. Is he right? You're watching Hot Indonesia with the triple S's, Sandy, Sari, and me, Sandrina. Here's hot topic number 2, mixed messages. We are 8 months into actively fighting COVID-19 with case numbers the second highest in Southeast Asia, and a positivity rate 3 times the WHO standard at nearly 15%. But President Jokowi said recently that lockdowns are unnecessary and that, quote, prioritizing health doesn't necessarily mean sacrificing the economy. Jakarta this week began loosening restrictions again. Sari, are we ready?
Well, Sandrina, I don't think whether it's ready or not. I think that I think people are getting used to whether there's a lockdown and no lockdown, you know. But I want to see it from a very objective point of view, is that we do need people to start going outside as well. I mean, there's cabin fever situation, people getting stressed, and it is nice to be still able to go out to have a coffee somewhere else, even if it's for a little while, and having a break from the work from home situation. You know, I haven't really focused on the COVID-19 stuff. But what I'm saying is a total lockdown needed? I personally don't think so. I think people should be mechanically, start using their mask or clean, wash their hands. And I think on this particular issue, I think that we don't need entire lockdown, but we still do need to make sure and be vigilant about being very careful and social distancing.
So it goes back all to the awareness and discipline of each and everybody around. Okay, Sunday, the president said more directed measures, micro-scale restrictions, he called them, were more effective. Can you elaborate?
I'm a data-driven policy guy. I'm a firm believer that we need to listen to our experts who are running the numbers. Deming once said, "In God we trust, all others bring, data we must." So we are now at the 10th, closer to end of October, which is like the almost 10 months since the pandemic starts. We are still grappling with higher number of cases. So this micro-scale restrictions is something that needs to be driven by data. So I would say that once you have the very good analytical tool in terms of the data, then you could implement this. Because we are seeing that the number of cases, if it continues to rise, the economy will not move anyway. So I would say that focus on health and the economy, use the protocol very, very strict and disciplined, making sure that you wear all the time your mask, wash your hands, social distancing, and just focus on data and try to adapt to this economy post-COVID-19.
The president, Sandi, also has indicated that he is depending on a vaccine currently under clinical trial here to help push the country out of the pandemic. Have you heard about the project between China's Sinovac Biotech and Indonesia's Bio Farma?
Yes, we have been briefed, we have been updated that they are making good progress on the vaccine preparations. It will be the soonest end of this year or early next year. But even with vaccine, we need to make sure that we have a strict health protocol, because this is relatively a new vaccine and everybody's rushing with great sense of urgency. But at the end of the day, it goes back to the people, making sure that the people are disciplined in implementing this. Vaccine will take time to distribute, but the economy needs to recover very quickly. And I think the focus should be at the household economy, ensuring that the assistance in terms of cash and basic staples are delivered on time, accurately to the people who are in need, and making sure that the SMEs are like what Sari is love to be doing, having coffee outside. Yes, but with strict protocol of COVID-19.
Yeah, Sari, your opinion on the public sentiment at the moment?
Yeah, I think people kind of just go with the flow now. I mean, people are doing their job in terms of nonprofit organization, trying to also help the government with the real data and numbers. But as we also observe, more and more regional government are not giving access to numbers anyway. But as far as people who are working, they are working, and they got to they do 50-50 between home and also I think people are happy that they the strict is the lockdown is eased, because it's not a full lockdown, or it's also not a full like everyone can just run around. But what I do want to highlight though, Sandra, I was thinking about this today. I've read the governor's rules about this easing of lockdown. It's great, but I just don't understand why we still need to open, for instance, the mall from 10 a.m. till 10 p.m. I think that time could be shorter in terms of the opening hours of things like malls, because not everybody's going to go to the mall every day anyway. But I think like restaurants and so forth, we can understand, because people do need to eat and have different kind of food. But and I understand, I was trying to think from the economic side as well. But at this current state, I think that it would be nice to shorten the time of malls to open them, but maybe make it longer on the weekend. I think that I hope from this pandemic, after this pandemic, that could change in Indonesia. I mean, I'm only making a observation living in Australia, that it's not really that necessary to have 12 hours malls open. It's not good for the environment anyway. That's my opinion.
Yeah, nevertheless, we do hope that the economic wheel will start turning for a lot of people now who are really facing difficulties. More Hot Indonesia is ahead. Pedal pushers, why more people are on bicycles, some costing more than cars. You are watching Hot Indonesia from Jakarta. Hot topic number 3, pedal pushers. It has become more than a form of inexpensive transportation. Riding a bike has become fashionable in the capital and other parts of the country. On car-free Sundays, the main streets are filled with bicycles ranging in prices from under $100 to more than $10,000. I'm sure you all remember smuggled high-end bikes even helped bring down the head of the country's national airline. Sandy, the cyclist of the group, what's the appeal given the lack of bikeways, pollution, and hot weather? I would like to know your story being on the streets so often.
I think it's a combination lately. People are affected by COVID-19, spending time at home and seeing that part of going out, doing exercise, jump onto your bike, and never ever underestimate the size of the Indonesian market, because bike sales have increased 400% during the large-scale social restrictions. And about 60% of buyers actually preferring folding bike. And these are mostly imported because unfortunately Indonesia's only produce 2.5 million bikes domestically a year, while importing up to 7 million bikes. And I think it's great to see people out there enjoying, and it's healthy, it's also environmental friendly. So I'd like to see this trend continue, but as a person who has been biking for over these years, I think we also need infrastructures like bike lanes and also regulations to ensure that we don't expose people to accidents.
Okay, the Creus or Cruise Bicycle Company in Bandung, actually the name originated from Kreasi Urang Sunda. This company has backed orders of 500 units. It made bikes for the president and the first lady. Now, Sari, who is actually buying these expensive items at such a difficult time?
I think that's a great answer. The answer should be from Sandy, because he's a very bike avid. From my own friends, circle of friends, actually quite surprising. There it comes from all different walks of life. And I didn't know, like somebody never liked bikes before. I didn't know like bikes, suddenly now like biking, So it's a really new trend, but it is a positive trend. Personally, I wouldn't spend 20 million on a bike. that's just not where my priority is, right? But I will spend on a bike where I'll have a little basket in front where I could put my little puppy and go, cycling around. So, but I agree with Sandy. I think this morning I see a whole bunch. It was a good time for me to look around. Oh, like it's really, really nice to have a community of people, are still using, of course, social distancing and, all this health regulations, protocols. But yeah, I think it's a very positive trend. And it's also helping the economy. Obviously, people are not just spending on some other consumer goods, that they can throw away. But yeah, I also agree with Sandy that hopefully the regulation will protect bike riders, and perhaps there will be more lanes for bike, for the bike pushers and so forth. And yeah, I think it's a very good trend. It's surprising where the money comes from.
I agree with both of you. It's a good exercise, so the trend is a good thing. And now it's feedback time. We enjoy hearing from you wherever you are watching us. Gary in California posted this on our Facebook page after our segment on the imminent demise of the Jakarta Post print edition. Old dudes like me will miss holding a paper in my hands. Well, even us younger ones will too, Gary. And Christopher had this to say on our YouTube page. This program is interesting and shows a lot of insights about Indonesia. We try our best, Christopher. And here's how to contact us with your feedback. Email at hotindo@theindonesiachannel.com or comment through our Hot Indonesia or Indonesia channel Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube pages. Final words, Sandy.
Well, we need to communicate calm to the people on the street, commenting or basically doing their democratical rights to voice about their inputs to the Omnibus law. But please make sure that we are facing tough pandemic. Make sure also we don't ruin our economy and also the public services. So I would like to call on you guys. Let's calm down, use the proper channel, and yes, exercise our democratic rights, but make sure that we don't make the situations worse.
Final words, Sari?
I want to encourage those who wants to be critical about the Omnibus law. Again, basically on the law point of view, the interpretations and things like that. And I don't think we should be giving up or intimidated, and we're not entirely anti the Omnibus law. It's just in the making process. But yes, let's communicate it in a way that to educate as well. But for the government side, I also think that the government plays a very significant role as well in the divisiveness, or they can unite and also make a peaceful, encouragement for people to exercise democracy, but not also stop democracy.
For my final words, I would like to talk about freedom of speech, which is every citizen's right guaranteed by our Constitution. Public debates on the importance of people's voice, on demonstrations, and freedom of speech arise throughout the nation lately. As a citizen, I humbly ask everyone to please view this issue as two sides of the coin, that with every right comes responsibility. Law must be just. In order to establish justice, one should not be deprived of his or her legal rights. And that's Hot Indonesia for this week. For Sandiaga Uno and Sari Latif, I'm Sandrina Malakiano. Thank you for watching and see you next time.